Hi, welcome to Patrick's Tech Show. I'm Patrick John. Today we're joined by very special guests to discuss what we think are the top 3 Atari VCS games so far. Our first guest makes a video for every Atari VCS game made. He's like an Atari VCS archivist. He's fair and professional, and I can't believe he's on this show. Please welcome Mockduck from Mockduck Plays Games.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Nice to see you.
Thank you. So you were on the show last year, and I just want to play a little clip for you from that show. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Hey, really nice to see you. I'm sorry, I guess I don't really know what you want.
What I want is to know if you meant it.
Sure.
All right. Well, now that that's settled, what do you think are the top 3 Atari VCS games so far?
This is a really hard list to put together. There are so many good games for the VCS, and there were 3 games that I talked about last time, but then a whole bunch of other games came out, and it's been really hard to figure out how to put together this top 3 list. And just like last year, this top 3 list is the top 3 games for the Atari VCS that are not the Atari Vault, because I can't try to weigh the merits of Asteroids and Centipede versus the games that you're going to see here. But without further ado, number 3 is Danger Scavenger. It's just a little bit glitchy and a little bit buggy, but the amount of fun that you'll have from it overcomes all of that sort of thing. It's the most action-packed local co-op game on the VCS. It has style up the wazoo, a really great item and upgrade system. It's a little bit like maybe if Ikari Warriors mixed in with like a looter shooter, put in like a neon cyberpunk overlay, and then just sort of sit you loose to cause chaos and mayhem. It looks great, it plays great, and it is so much fun, and it's only $10. It has classes and style for days. Number 2, it's Donut Dodo. You need to run out and buy it right now. It is one of the best arcade games I have played in decades. If it had come out in 1983, it would have been an instant classic. It's got a little bit of games like Popeye, Donkey Kong Jr., Kangaroo. There's just a whole bunch of things that it emulates a little bit, but it really doesn't feel like any of them. The pixel graphics and sound are absolutely perfect for the era. It even has some cool little kind of CRT overlay style effects to it, and the game is really, really fun. It is really, really hard, though, just like the quarter munchers of the early to mid 1980s. You will die a lot, but you can get very good at it, and it's a game that rewards getting very good at. You need to really achieve perfection to get the top score, because it has this mechanic where you're not just dodging things, but you're picking up power-ups, and the amount of points you get for each power-up depends on whether you get them in a sequence. You can't just go through and clear it all out and call it done, not if you're actually chasing a high score. It controls great. It's really fun to play with the classic joystick on the VCS, and just the look and feel of it is amazing. Number 1, I'm keeping it on this list because it really is, I think, the game that takes best advantage of what the VCS has to offer. The classic joystick is a must if you want to play Thrustlander, my number 1 game. Thrustlander really combines everything that's great about the VCS and kind of modern retro gaming into one package, and it has a huge itemization development. Like, you'll develop your ship and power-ups and skills over time. It's a very long game. There's tons to do. And it's really 2 games in one, because there's not just a modern and really cool looking graphics version of the game, but there's like a retro kind of Atari, maybe 2600, 5200 era version of the game as well that plays really fun and is a little bit maybe more like Lunar Lander and Vanguard. It's also a little bit like Gravatar, but it's also its own thing completely, and it is so much fun. You have to play it with the classic. The reason is you're going through tunnels of a cave, and you're steering your ship very carefully and deliberately while fighting off enemies and targets and getting power-ups and fuel and what have you. There's a lot of management of your resources in this game, and it's not an easy game, but it's a game that rewards attention to detail, precision, paying attention to it, and executing really well in a way that few other games do.
That was great. I'm curious. You were invited to be on the show 4 months ago. Were there any games, even back then, that you just knew were going to be the top 3, and then they were?
Yeah, it was actually really hard because I had more than 3 and I had to whittle it down for the top 3. But I knew Thrustlander was going to stay my number 1 because although there's been a lot of really great games out on the VCS, none of them have quite captured the amount of, I guess, just perfection on the VCS. It's the perfect game for the VCS, and nothing has quite toppled that. So my number 1 was set, and I knew I wanted to add Donut Dodo because that game has just been blowing my mind, and I absolutely love it. And so that meant something had to go from my previous list, and that the only real candidate, if I wanted to add anything else, was Danger Scavenger. And I really wanted to keep that one too. So it was really a matter of not what to add, but what not to add. That was the real struggle here.
Well, thank you. And everyone, you can see more Mockduck on youtube.com/Mockduck Plays Games and facebook.com/Mockduck Plays Games. Thank you for being on the show, Mockduck.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Our next guest has a YouTube channel where he shares what he loves and goes in depth on why. This includes action figures, shows, movies, and video games. And, of course, one of the things he loves is the Atari VCS. So I invited him here. Please welcome Podan from the YouTube channel I Love. Hi, Podan.
Thanks for having me back, Patrick. It's fantastic to be here. And I was also glad to hear that you replaced your fiberglass underwear.
Yes, thank God my grandma gave me a gift card for Kohl's, and I replaced all my underwear.
Great to hear.
So I had a quick question before we got started. So in your channel, you talk about everything you love, and sometimes you talk about things that maybe people normally don't like, but you love. And I was wondering if there's any examples of a complete polar opposite where people just really didn't like something and you really loved it.
Yes, actually, a good example I could think of right off the bat is the video that actually prompted me to start my channel. And that is the first video I did about The Predator. The Predator is a film that I absolutely loved it. I sat there in the theater, just creeping towards the screen because it was so good. And when I went home, everybody just seemed to hate this movie. And I just was so baffled the whole time I watched it. I just was like, this is the movie that my childhood was waiting for. It touches base on all the films. It even feels like some comics and some video game ideas got in there. And then people just don't like it. And I feel like that's a whole, a thing that's going on right now where people we like to talk more about the things that we don't like. And I decided that we can all sit around and talk about the things that we love and be way more positive, because there's always something that we don't like. Do we always have to talk about it?
That's very true, Podan. Now, let's talk turkey. Which of 3 Atari VCS games do you like the most?
All right. So for this one, Patrick, I decided to give myself a couple of reasons that these are my favorites. The 2 reasons that any of these games are my favorite is because I play them all the time, or I get to use my joystick. That's right. The joystick. The reason that we love Atari. Most fans of Atari love that joystick play that you found in the arcades. and they were the ones who brought it home to us. So with that in mind, let's start off with my number 3 game. This is gonna be Atari Mania. Oh yes. Atari Mania is an incredible game that just came out, but it is something that is not just an arcade score getter. This is a narrative-driven mini game extravaganza that you might think is more like a Mario Party, but you play it by yourself. But then there's an entire overworld that feels like Zelda, which is the Atari Vault Museum, where you get to be the curator, wander around, find all kinds of neat items to explore further and figure out why there's all these dead pixels everywhere. Also, it's the first time many of these Atari 2600 classics have been redrawn. That's right, new graphics for games like Combat, Pong, Breakout, and even Sword Quest. And again, you get to play it with the joystick. Fantastic art and music as well. Now, number 2, Jetboard Joust. I absolutely love Jetboard Joust. And one of the things I love about it is it's very classic oriented. This is a remake, pretty much, of Defender, and very well done. You even get the radar on the top of your screen. You're rescuing people from the alien invaders, but like a Recharge title, there's all kinds of power-ups. You can progress your character. There's many levels, many enemies, and big bosses to kill. That's right. And my big daddy, number 1, Yars Recharged. Now, this is interesting for me because if you remember, Asteroids is one of my favorite Atari games. Now, this was interesting because Yars Revenge is a game that I did not understand how to play as a kid. The game was confusing for some reason and I could never figure it out. I didn't have an instruction manual. This game taught me how to play Yars, and it is so much fun. There is a free movement to this game where you actually are just floating right where you are in the game. Wherever you move your joystick is where you go. You get tons of power-ups, and of course, that classic space shooter action. There's tons of levels, missions, achievements, and yes, joystick support for that best action from Atari.
Wow, thank you, Podan. And quick question. Last year, in last year's video, you said that you really like the Recharged games. And then this year, one of your top 3 picks is a Recharged game. Are there any Atari games out there that you are just hoping gets that Recharged treatment someday?
Man, that is a great one. There are so many, but honestly, the one that I always have coming up, and it's not a game I played as a kid. I actually found out about this one from my arcade 1-up 50th anniversary. Was it 50th anniversary? It's the collector's edition Atari machine that had a game in it called Major Havoc. This game is incredible. It has breakout parts, shooter parts, and even platformer parts. This is an insanely incredible game because of the multi-genre combining, which would remind you maybe of like a Bayou Billy on Nintendo, where there was shooter, driving, and 2D punch 'em up action, side-scrolling. And Major Havoc is just, it's one of their games, but in a little addition, a bonus, so many people are always wondering where the Activision games are. I would love to see where the Activision games are too, and they like to put them on their flashback systems. Atari, let's get an Atari Vault Activision collection, please. This would get all of your fans right back to you because those are the games that most people do remember.
All right, well, thank you for being on the show. And everyone can catch more Podan at youtube.com/ILoveStuffAndSoDoYou and Instagram.com/ILoveStuffAndSoDoYou. Thanks, Podan.
Thank you so much for having me. I'll see you next time.
Our next guest has a very extensive video game collection that includes 34 complete video game sets. That's every video game for 34 video game systems. That's right. Allow that to sink in. Blow your mind. He's currently part of a team that's making a non-profit Video Game Museum, the Northwest Video Game Museum, where he's going to donate his collection. And this collection has given him an extensive knowledge of video games, old and new, that he shares on his YouTube channel, of course. Please welcome the immortal John Hancock.
Thanks for having me on. Really excited to be here.
Okay, well, thank you.
So, Patrick, who are you talking to?
That's John Hancock, Mom.
Oh, the autograph guy.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay. Well, have fun.
I am so sorry about that, Mr. Hancock. Oh. So you have an Atari VCS?
Yes.
You played the games.
I've covered and played many on the VCS, yes.
What are the 3 best games to play on it, in your opinion?
Wow, that's a tough one. And so for people that don't know, the VCS is coming up on being out almost 2 years. And really nice to see it come out. I know some of its competitors have not came out yet. And it's nice to see that the VCS has actually surprised people and has been on the market. There's approximately about 74 games on its library, with about 24 to 26 being kind of like relaunched games that came out of yesteryear. But anyways, of those, there are several that I think would fit for me some of the top best games. And I have to say, one of my favorite games on it is Donut Dodo. Donut Dodo to me is a love letter to early 80s arcade games such as Donkey Kong and Mario Brothers. And it's a completely unique experience. It looks like an arcade game. It plays like an arcade game. It's brutal. It's really, really difficult. But it makes it a perfect fit for the VCS. That arcade style gaming experience is something that I appreciate, something that I love to play, and by far probably one of definitely top 3 for me. But so Donut Dodo for sure is up there. This next one I had an absolute blast playing, and that was Yars Recharge. I think it's one of the best Recharge games. It's one of the latest ones that they've released as well. And so I think Atari's done a good job at refining what a Recharge game is. And Yars is I want to say it's the first game that was not an arcade release. And they went back to one of the very best-selling, but very popular. Yars Revenge was a very popular Atari 2600 game. And they took that experience and made it a unique gaming experience, 2-player as well. And it really, to me, I played it with a buddy of mine, played about 3/4 of the way through it, and wow, there's just so much there to enjoy and appreciate. $10 too, that $10 price, that $10 price. Donut Dodo is like a $5 game. It's not, I mean, it's like the price of some of these games is excellent. And to me, Yars Recharge is like really what Atari's done the best with making like a new experience with an old franchise. So this next one's controversial. So I know some people didn't like this game, and I went back recently to play it more, and I have to say and so far, so there's some other games coming out for the VCS that I'm looking forward to even more, but I have to say I really like Atari Mania. I like what they did with it. The gameplay can be very challenging. There is some load time issues, but I'm a type of person that if I see what a game is trying to be, I can forego like some of the technical issues, and I can always update it. There was an update. The review code that I had for the Switch didn't allow me to progress far into the game. Like I think it was, I don't know, 1.01, but 1.02 is an update, and it fixed some of the issues that I was having with the game, and I love it. I love what they've done with it. It's a really funny story, and I think it's like a modern Atari game making fun of their history a little bit, and it's in a museum, and there's some funny things with it. But I really enjoy it. So top 3 for sure. Donut Dodo probably being number 1, Yars Recharge being number 2, and Atari Mania being number 3 for me.
Wow. Well, thank you for that very much, Mr. Hancock. And I'm curious, the Atari VCS, it's a digital-only system, and it's not alone in that. I mean, PlayStation's gone digital-only. That's an option. There's an Xbox digital-only with computer games, Steam and Epic Games digital. As a collector, do these digital editions make you nervous?
No, I think if anything, I mean, the Ouya was digital only, and fans helped revitalize that and save games and stuff. And so, I love original physical releases. I cover a lot on my channel. I cover aftermarket games. I cover a lot of classic consoles, but digital is kind of where we're at. And I'm just happy the VCS came out, and they still are making games, and some of the best games are still coming out. Atari 50th anniversary looks amazing, and I'm okay with digital. I think if anything, there'll be someone out there with a private server that will save it if it ever shuts down, which it probably will. And that's inevitable, and I'm okay with that. I mean, it's not ideal, but I'm not like if it's digital only, I'm not going to get it. No, I'm just going to appreciate it and enjoy it now while it's out. And I've enjoyed my VCS. I've been a critic of it as well. There's some things about it I haven't liked, but overall, they're still kicking after 2 years. I mean, that's something. That's something, and some of the best games I think have came out this last year.
I understand. Well, thank you for your time, John Hancock. And if you want to see more John Hancock, type in the Immortal John Hancock into YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Am I forgetting anything?
You're good.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for being on the show.
You're very welcome.
Next up is the source for Atari information on YouTube. His channel covers the games and consoles from across Atari's history. He showcases raw, unedited gameplay of games. He interviews other YouTubers and game developers. He always keeps everyone up to date with the latest Atari news. And besides all that, he's very personable. We're talking about Ballistik Coffee Boy. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Patrick, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I just had a fresh cup of coffee.
I was going to ask you if you had coffee tonight. Does that mean you're going to go ballistic?
Maybe.
Oh, boy. What kind of coffee do you drink, Ballistik Coffee Boy?
You'd be surprised. It's nothing too fancy. Some flavored K-Cups from wherever I can find them. Right now, my favorite is called like pumpkin spice. And then I actually put hazelnut creamer in it. So it's very sweet, which is funny since I worked at Starbucks for 13 years. You'd think I would like black coffee, but I don't.
Well, it's very good. Now, to get to business, you were given a mission to decide what VCS games are the top 3. Have you come to a decision?
I have, Patrick.
And what is that decision?
Well, it was tough. My top 3 change all the time as different games come out. I, of course, love all the Recharge games. And I feel like that genre needs to be represented in my list as well, since I love all of those. And I also wanted to include a new game and kind of a new game that I think is also great. So I kind of wanted to give people a sample of everything the VCS has to offer in my list. So I'll get started here. My number 3 game, and these were so hard to rank because I love them all equally, but my top 3 game would have to be Missile Command Recharged, which just came out on November 1st. And this is a game, it's a updated version of Missile Command, as a lot of people probably know. This is an update that Atari had out on November 1st. And I was really blown away when I downloaded this. It was only $6.99 for me since I bought the original. And I was really surprised. It's got new power-ups. It's got some great upgrades. It's got local co-op. It's got leaderboards. And the most important part of it to me is the soundtrack is amazing. It's done by Megan McDuffie, who does all the Recharge soundtracks, who I should be interviewing soon, by the way, on the show. I love Megan McDuffie's work, and this is probably some of her best work, I think, in this game. I just love it. So this is a game that just came out as of now, like a week or two ago, and it's so good. So I highly recommend it to anyone that has a VCS. They should definitely get this update to that game. I think it's great. So my second pick would have to be BPM Boy by Retro Ninja. Now this is one that could easily be first. You know, it's a top favorite of mine on the system. And when people say the VCS doesn't have any exclusives, this is the exclusive. So you can't find this anywhere else. I think you might be able to soon, though. I think that it's going to be coming out on other systems. But for a while now, it's been an exclusive game on the VCS. And it's really great. It's done by Tony Barnes, who has 35 years in the industry. He made games like the Strike series and Blood Omen, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, stuff like that. This is a physics-based platformer. And it is one of the pricier games on the VCS. Worth every penny. I would have paid twice for this, as much for this game. It's amazing. Such attention to detail. There are little nods to Atari in the game with the power-ups. It's got great music. So well designed. I still play it to this day. And one of the cool things about the game is Tony Barnes, I heard or read in an interview, or maybe it was me chatting with him on Twitter. He said that he made the game because his mother loved Marble Madness. And so the game is kind of fashioned in the style of Marble Madness, which is one of my favorite arcade games. So, but yeah, so BPM Boy, number 2, like I said, it definitely could be number 1. It was hard to make a decision on these numbers. And probably my number 1 game right now would have to be Atari Mania. It was put out by Logica and Atari, and it's got 150 micro games. It's mashups from different titles through Atari's history, those games. It's got, the characters from some of those games. It's all about exploration in that game, just exploring the museum, being the curator. It's got collectibles. It's got these cool pixel graphics. The music in it is fantastic. I still got it in my head, It's a great game. Great for any Atari fan, and definitely for a VCS owner. It is, as I've kind of said before, it's kind of a love letter to Atari, and I think it's my favorite game right now. Atari Mania and BPM Boy and Missile Command Recharge could all be first place in my opinion. And of course I have 10 others I would love to mention too, but those right now as of today are my top 3 favorites for the VCS.
And if Atari Mania was real and you got sucked into an Atari game, which one would be the scariest game for you to get sucked into? Just a real nightmare.
Well, interesting you asked that, Patrick, because I was actually playing this today just for a minute for an episode I'm doing in the future. But Platter Mania from Epix for the Atari 800 computer. It's probably one of the worst games I've ever played. Basically, you're a clown and you're juggling like 10 or so different plates in the air. And that's the whole game. And it just seems like that would be a nightmare to be trapped in, having to juggle 10 plates in the air. I was a waiter for 15 years, and that's not something I want to relive.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show, Ballistik Coffee Boy. And to everyone watching, especially if you're an Atari fan, what are you waiting for? Check out his channel on YouTube. That's Ballistik Coffee Boy. Ballistik with a K on the end. Thank you, Ballistik Coffee Boy.
Thanks, Patrick. You have a great one.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. This concludes part 1 of the top 3 Atari VCS games so far video, 2022 edition. There have been some common favorites so far: Atari Mania, Donut Dodo, and Yars Recharged. Tune in for part 2, where we'll have 4 more guests and see if we get even more common favorites. I'd like to thank again Mockduck Plays Games, I Love, John Hancock, and Ballistik Coffee Boy for making it to the show. If your interests brought you to this video, then please check out their channels and content, and maybe do the ultimate act of YouTube support. Subscribe! Thanks for watching, and see you in part 2.